Hello and welcome to the Flory Models Daily Vlog. Here we are with you on Tuesday, December the 14th, 2021, and I've been working on the Galactica. Although it's no longer Galactica, I've changed my mind, I've actually done Pegasus instead. So Pegasus, for people who do watch this and remember this, was the starship, or the battle star that comes back in the new series and all the rest of it. So I thought, right, okay, we'll pay a little bit of homage to that one of how she looked before, obviously the reboot of it, if you like. I have to say, doing the decals, you were all correct. For everybody who messaged me and said, be careful of those decals, they are awful. Awful is an understatement. They just, yeah, shattered. I had exactly the same trouble as obviously you guys had, and they are completely useless. And I have got over here, as you can see, well, I did put them in water, but now they've all dried out. Some of the decals and some of them that just shattered and went, and I just gave up. So I managed to luckily get on probably the most complicated one, which is the circle one on the top. But the rest of it, I've actually had to use pens. And this is, you know, one of those nice things I like to do is, to, you know, to put you totally in the picture. I've never been a fan of the red one. The red one, when you use it, looks great for that sort of day glow red stroke orange colour, but it's not like a true red if you use it over a light colour. So if you use it over white or over a grey and things like that, it always comes out being pinky. You know, it's almost like an orangey pink colour. It's not exactly brilliant. If you're using it over black or a dark colour, it's not so much of a problem, but over light colours, and even if you give it 2 or 3 coats, it just doesn't work exactly well. So we had to go back and use old friend Mr. Sharpie over the top of that, because the great thing about these pens, as we spoke before, and I'll show you in a minute when I bring you over, is that it's got a really tight nib onto it, and you can just literally draw it on. You can do perfectly straight lines with it, and it's no problem at all. The Sharpie's got that sort of felt tip end onto it, so it's very difficult to get it exactly where you want, and it's difficult to do straight lines, so forth and so on. So anyway, what we've actually done is, if I grab you around in here, so here she is, looking, or hopefully looking, very much the part. And then what we've actually had to do is, if we start down here, these ones all along the bottom here, that's all Sharpie again. So luckily for us, it's like a recess, so you can just drop it in there and then you can drag it across. All right, that's fine. These ones up the top here, which we can get the camera to play ball, these were the decals, but they shattered on me. So if you, when you get to this on the video, which will probably be in part 3, you actually see that I come out over the top and we put the Sharpie over the top of it. This one, to be honest, is the only one you're really going to have problems with, because at the end of the day, it's a circle, and trying to do a circle through masking or with a pen is pretty much a nightmare. So that isn't brilliant. Down the front here, again, we tried it with the decals, they didn't exactly work, so we've gone over the top of it with pen. And then, to be honest, the one I'm really happy about is these along here. So actually what we did was we put in a little bit of tape and then we Sharpied over the top, and luckily we didn't get any bleed. So very happy with those ones, and they came through really nicely. The other ones is these ones back here, which has these squares onto them. This is just pure Sharpie. Didn't even put the other pen in there because I didn't think it was going to work exactly brilliantly. But generally though, she's turned out very, very nice. The only exception is these here at the back here are decals and are the ones on the underside, purely because, again, you know, they worked. They went down and they were actually okay. But the rest of it is, yeah, a little bit of a pain. But this one down here at the front, again, it's Sharpie, no problem at all. This round here is all Sharpie. This round the back here, as you'll see in the video, I actually show it, is all Sharpie, so forth and so on. But generally, she's looking really, really nice. Very happy of how she's come out. It's just one of those things, you get to it and you think, you know, it's all going fantastically well, and then the decals let you down. So that is a little bit of a pain. The secret though to using the Sharpies, as we said before, the great thing about this one is you've got this very, very nice nib on the end of it. And this nib is great because it's very, very fine. You can just literally put in a perfect line and you can write with it and draw with it, no problem at all. But it's not a nice colour. The one you want, I get this off one-handed, there you go, is this one. But the thing is, as you can see, it's got the felt tip nib. So it's really, really difficult to get it actually into exactly where you want it, you know, so it's a little bit fat and it's not exactly brilliant, and it tends to ride up onto the actual detail. So if you're putting down a trench, it sticks to the side, which you'll see in the video as well, but that's something we can take care of. So what I'm asking is Postga to do a proper red, please, because whilst this does look red, and when you're looking at it on paper, you know, that looks pretty red, but you can probably see already this is Sharpie, that's Postga. So the trouble that you have is that as this dries, it will go a slightly pinky tinge. But again, if you're doing dots and tiny things, it's no problem at all. But yeah, it's just one of those. It's somewhat annoying with it. But yeah, you know, it's one of those things we live by and we get on with it. So what I'm going to do, camera going to focus? There we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this some wash onto this one, and then it can be sat in wash and drying and all the rest of it, because I've got quite a busy day today. To be honest, I've got a couple of big deliveries coming in at last, so that's quite good. Boring stuff, it's to do with wash and sanders and stuff like that. So we've got those coming in today, so I'm going to have to sort that out. I'm going to try and do some of those reviews and get the first reviews up with you today, as that one's going forward, so we're hopefully going to be quite excited about that one. And then obviously this afternoon I'm doing the PM show with Matt. We've had to bring it forward because Matt's doing some bits and pieces. You might know he moved house yesterday, so he's got some stuff to take care of tomorrow morning when we normally do it. So what we're going to do is bump it till late this afternoon, probably around about 5 o'clock. We will do that one. Bing, that's somebody. So yes, that's the point as we move our way through it. So lots and lots of things to go. Apologies, that's my phone. As you say, busy day. So what I'll do is be back with you a little bit later on. So I want to talk to you about obviously our end of year show and how you can get involved as well. So I'm going to get some wash onto this one. We'll let that dry. I'll get a couple of reviews done as well, so I can give you a little bit of feedback on that one, and I'll be back with you. So there we go. I've just done the review of the Dragon Lady, and I have to say, even though the box is tiny, and I must admit, 70-second scale, I'm not expecting mass things, but I think that really is quite small. The details are absolutely fantastic on this one. And again, it's that thing with Hobby Boss of, they just get it right. The packaging, everything is separate bagged. The decals are beautifully done in a separate bag. As you'll see in the review, the clear parts have all got foam on them, around them, and they're separate bagged as well. And it is really, really nice. And actually, I think this is a really, really good kit, purely because it's, like I said in the back end of the review, it's a big jet at the end of the day. It's got a very large wingspan. It's not that small. So if you're into the 48 scales and stuff like that, it's going to get out of hand of where do you put it. Unless you're going to hang it on the wall and that, you'll be absolutely fine. But generally, very, very nice. It's not going to take a ton of time to put one of these together either. It's quite straightforward. I think there's only 4 or 5 different steps in the actual build for it. And it should go together really, really nicely. There's no ejector pins in any nasty places or anything else like that. So really, that's very good. But the highlight for me is these markings. I love this marking up here with the day glow and all the rest of it. I think it looks really, really cool. And there's something nice about the early version of the Dragon Lady, because let's face it, if you look at the more modern versions, which have been upgraded over all these years, which is still flying, because one flew over here not so long ago on its way into yeah, can't think of its name now, Riat Place, Fairford, that's the one. I know it was coming in over this way and going in the other day, and watched it live on YouTube. And again, it's one of those really interesting aircraft, but it's got lumps and bumps and everything all over it now, and it sort of spoils the lines of it. And I know at the end of the day it's not designed for looks, but having the clean version of it like this, I think just looks really, really nice. You know, it doesn't have the big bulges and lumps and bumps all over it, so there's something to be said about the early version. So it's really nice. So again, I think it's absolute blinder. Just the size of the box is mind-blowing, but it all fits in there just about and all the rest of it, and it is all good to go. Same time as doing all of this, we are currently waiting for to dry. So she's here. It's on a stand within a stand here, and again, it's come out really, really nicely. You know, really happy of how she's looking. So basically, I'm going to let this dry off for another few minutes. It's still a little bit wet just down in here, and what we're going to be doing then is getting the wash off of this one and wiping it down and all the rest of it. So once I've done that, I'll come back with you, and we can have a look, see exactly how she's going along. So it's been a very good morning. I must admit, deliveries have all been coming in as well, so that's really, really nice. So I'll be sorting those out and getting them done and all the rest of it. One thing I was going to talk about to you guys is like next week's Thursday show, not this one coming, next week is going to be our sort of roundup show for the year. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be putting some polls up in the forum, and I'll be linking them obviously in the forum, so you can go and vote for your usual things like best kit manufacturer, best paint manufacturer, best tool manufacturer, you know, kit of the year and all things like that as well. So we want your help this year. It's not just going to be me and the team yapping about it. We want you guys to get involved with that as well. But anyway, I'll talk about that more as we get a little bit closer to the time. But at some point this week, you'll be seeing those go up. I'll probably spend tonight sorting that out, getting the polls all up for it and things. So it'd be interesting to get your point involved. I know every year I do my one, and over the last sort of 4 or 5 years, I've been having the team's version of it. But we thought this year we'd have a joint 1.1 with everything going on with you guys in the forum as well, to get your feedback on how you think this year's gone. And all in all, I think considering what we've been through with COVID and all the rest of it, and now with the Omicron on top of us as well, I think we've all done really, really well. So I know we've had some delays and shipping and various things like that, and kits being released, but I still think with everything that's gone in the world, it's actually been really, really good. So anyway, I'm going to crack on, clear this away. I can get the Battlestar Galactica over, we can get the wash off of that, and then we'll catch up and see what we got. Okay, and we're back, and we've almost finished off the Galactica. Here she is. Getting there, a little bit still to do. There's a little bit of tidying up to do on this one, but actually I have to say, I know a lot of people give Mobius a little bit of flack about their kits, but when you think about how the simplicity of it going together and the actual fit and the design and stuff like that, it's actually not too bad at all. I know it's quite simple and, you know, straightforward and things like that, but you know, I think it just absolutely works. So what we've done now, it just come in with a little bit of oils. So we've been over this with a little bit of oils just to give it a sort of, you know, a dry brush right the way over it, and just to calm everything down. So I find with the actual using just a dry brush right the way over it with a little bit of oils works two ways. Especially works very well with the wash, because what it does, it blends the wash around onto the surfaces and stuff like that. So you get a nice sort of muted finish like we've got up here at the back. And that's the nice thing I like the way it actually works with this. So if the wash has got down in all those cracks, when you're giving it a rub brand, and here's our brush we were using, so when you're getting it in these areas, you're working it around, so it acts like, you know, we said before, it's like a blending effect. So it works really, really well, and hopefully you can see on the other areas on the ship how it knocks it back. And you might remember these reds down on the front here, and we got the one round on this side, of how it just knocks them back as well and just mutes it down. So obviously down here at the sides and things like that, and obviously around here at the back, it just makes it all work so very, very well. So that is a thing to it which works in our favor when we're doing it. So always think of sort of dry brushing as an effect to go right the way over it, not to sort of highlight raised areas as well, but as a blending technique. So yes, obviously you could use it if you wanted to sharpen it up. You could come along if you as well with like a metal scrub, which is one thing I did think about doing, and going right the way over it to make some of the details pop out and things like that. But sometimes, you know, especially when you're doing in the big scales like ships especially and stuff like that, I find that it's better as an overall effect. So obviously the entire model has just got that ability to look right in its situation. So obviously you got this thing about scale and not knowing. Here you can see it because you got all the stuff in the background, but if we was to put this obviously to a black background and try and shoot it, we should end up with actually a really nice effect with it. But I'm very, very happy how it's come out, very happy with the paintwork now. And again, this is the other thing as well, when we're talking about going in lighter than probably we wanted it. Originally I was actually, you know, even I was thinking it's too light, but now we definitely played it right. So by making the paint work a little bit lighter than what we wanted, because we've used a wash on this now and it's had some oils just to, you know, buff it about, you can see now it's more on the grey side than it actually is the white side. And that's the thing to it. So very, very happy how she turned out now. So there's a couple of bits still to do. I've still got to do the stand under here. We're going to do something with that. So obviously what we probably will do, if we stick that down there, works great as a stand, that as well. But this little guy here, we've got this thing where we're thinking, right, okay, black, do we do it black and then dry brush it, which I think will be the nicest thing to it, or even give it a wash, or do we do it the other way round, chrome, and then actually dry brush black over it to make it come to life? I'm not sure yet, I must admit. I'm undecided under there, but under here you can see looking very much the part as well. Happy of how all this is under here. So really that's about it. What I'm going to do is we're going to do a couple of little areas on this one still. So stand still to do. The pole we're probably going to leave silver. Going to do a little thing with the engine, and we're just going to pop around a few areas and just add some dabs of light and things like that down in there. So that might be using white because it will look great on this type of ship to give the effect of lighting, but also you could come in with various colors like reds and yellows and blues to look like lighting right the way over it and things like that. And then the last thing is obviously down the back here is these engines. So again, we're going to do something in there as well just to sort of lighten them out. So again, it may be that we go in there with metallics into the actual engine bays, things like that, to make them look like they're shining and lit. So good ones for that is you can do like metallic blue, which is X13, or the other one is the zero interior color, that sort of, you know, pearlescent blue, which will work quite well in there as well. But there we go, she's coming along now, pretty much finished off. Happy to where we are on this one, so I'm thinking we're probably going to be calling this one done by the end of today, or if not tomorrow, as we make our way through. So yes, good job on that one. Hopefully you quite enjoyed that, because it was one of those areas where, you know, trying different techniques, working through with it, but this one was literally good old-fashioned way of doing it. So it was a case of, right, we're going to come in, we're going to go with the weathering, we're going to do this, that and the other to it, and it's all worked out very, very nicely, so I'm happy with that one. So what I'm going to do is carry on with this one. I've got that review, so I'm going to get that edited up for you for that U2, so that'll be up with you a little bit later. And then last thing today, I'm doing the live show obviously with Matt, which will be a recording, and then we'll be up with you tomorrow from the PM side of it as well. Matt, spoke to him a little bit of time ago. The Razor Quests are all in now, so he's going to send one of those down to me, as well as a few other bits and pieces. And then what we'll do is we're going to start doing the reviews for the big stuff for some of my projects that I'll be tackling next year to make our way through as well. Anyway, that's it from me. Thank you very much for joining. Happy modelling. Take care. I'll catch you all tomorrow.